All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar, Automating Network Troubleshooting with NetBrain. I have with me today Patrick and Christian. Hi, Patrick. Hi, Christian.
Hey, Dax. Good to be here.
Yeah.
Hi, Dax.
Hi. So we're going to go through formal introductions in just a sec after we run through the agenda. But today's webinar is an exciting one for Prosperon Networks. It's our first webinar showcasing one of our new enterprise solutions that we've taken on, and we're going to be talking about that in a few minutes. Let's run through a quick agenda. Right, so we're going to be doing introductions. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Prosperon and NetBrain partnership. And Patrick is then going to be talking about just giving a little bit of an introduction to the NetBrain product, the NetBrain solution, and what kind of solution it is and what kind of problems it solves. We're then going to be running into a live demo with Christian. Christian is going to be showcasing the product, giving us a quick demo on how it works, how it functions, and how great it looks. We'll be running a couple of polls during the webinar, and then right at the end, we'll be having a question and answer session. One thing I would like to mention is that if you do have any questions whilst the demo is being presented and it is relevant to the demo, please feel free to ask them straight away. We'll try our best to answer them as quickly as possible. Any general questions about NetBrain or anything other than that, if you could please wait until the question and answer section, where we will dedicate the time to answering any questions that you may have related to Prosperon or NetBrain. So for introductions, my name is Dax Atwood. I'm an account manager at Prosperon Networks, and I am also the NetBrain team lead here at Prosperon Networks. I have been in the account management department of Prosperon for a few months now. I was previously one of their network engineers, going on site and installing the SolarWinds product, which is our product that we've been doing for 12 years. And I was on site doing the installations and the configurations for that. All right, Patrick.
Hey, good afternoon. So Patrick Malaperriman, VP of Sales, EMEA for NetBrain. I'm based in our UK office. I've been with the company about 8 weeks. I've been in this industry for about 25 years now, and I have to be honest, I've a little bit more grey hair than the picture shows there. But yeah, really excited to be working with Prosperon and really happy to be speaking to you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Christian?
Yeah. Good day. My name is Christian. I'm located in the NetBrain office in Munich in Germany. And I'm at NetBrain now at a little bit over 2 years, and was before NetBrain 5 years at a service provider in the service area, and was responsible for routing, switching, troubleshooting, change management, and so on. And I'm happy to be here and to present NetBrain later. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christian. So our partnership with NetBrain. NetBrain is a solution that we've been looking at for a number of years. And well, they've got a channel strategy now, and we've been really excited to offer it to customers in the United Kingdom. But it is important to understand that Prosperon Networks is only really looking for solutions that complement the existing portfolio, that being SolarWinds and some of our other products, and NetBrain with its open RESTful API and its ability to bring SolarWinds data into the interface. This is something we believe it's a compelling reason to partner with NetBrain. And we know many of you suffer from out-of-date information and struggle to get the data in a visual way to help resolve issues when they occur. And it's not only SolarWinds data we can utilize either. It's things like help desk, tooling, log information, CLI can all be brought together with a simple dynamic map to help analyze incidents that you guys can see, you guys see almost every day. And NetBrain focuses on reducing the mean time to repair, and importantly, it digitizes your knowledge within your teams to ensure related problems can be resolved in the shortest time possible, as downtime costs, you guys, as we all know, can be very expensive. So a little bit about Prosperon. A lot of the attendees that are here will already know about Prosperon, but for the attendees who are new to our webinars, we are Prosperon Networks, and we are a leading provider in enterprise network management solutions. And for those of you who have joined our other BlogBite webinars, you will know that these sessions are really focused on helping users improve how they use Orion. Our webinars are primarily focused around assisting you guys on better using your Orion platform, your SolarWinds platform. And these sessions have covered topics such as advanced alerting, and even automation of SolarWinds. And you can find these webinars by following us on YouTube, searching for Prosperon. You'll find our Prosperon Networks YouTube page, where there is all of the webinars are hosted there, all of the recordings. And you'll also find them on the website. And on the website, there is an insights page, which you can see there in the screenshot. And you'll find cool stuff about SolarWinds. You'll find tips and tricks and that sort of thing there. You will also see us taking part in SolarWinds' yearly THWAC camp. In the screenshot below on the screen now, you can see second to the left is our technical director, Mark Roberts. We also have 6 engineers on site. We provide customers with 400 plus days of professional services each year. And you may speak to us on one of our 800 support cases that we close each year. And of course, our ideas can be heard on THWAC, our technical director being a THWAC MVP as well. So we contribute a lot to that, to the THWAC community. So that's Prosperon Networks. And I think what we'll do now is we'll hop into our first quick poll before we move on to the demo. And the poll is, what are your biggest network challenges? You're happy to choose as many as are a challenge to you. So we'll just give it a minute to let people vote in the poll, and we'll see what the results are like. Okay, we've got some results coming in here. It's looking neck and neck. Okay. All right, so the poll has now closed. In terms of the results, you'll probably see them up there on your screen, but it was tied between the knowledge gap between teams is a big one, and lack of visibility into the network, 2 very prime suspects for network challenges. And these are 2 things that we're actually going to be dealing with today in our live demo. So I think what we'll do now is before the demo, we'll pass this over to Patrick, where he will go over and talk a little bit about NetBrain and give a company overview and what NetBrain does.
Great, thanks Dax, and good afternoon everyone again. So firstly, I want to thank Prosperon for hosting today's webinar. We're absolutely delighted to be working with them in the UK. And secondly, of course, I'd like to thank everyone that's made the effort to attend today. Thank you for attending. And of course, thank you for your initial interest in NetBrain. So I'm going to take a few minutes to introduce the company and give you more details around our value proposition before handing over to Christian, who will take you through the demonstration. So NetBrain was founded in 2004. And over the last 14 years, we've been providing some of the world's largest companies with end-to-end visibility and automation across very complex environments. Companies like AT&T, Boeing, Cisco, Citigroup, to name but a few, all rely on NetBrain. Overall, we've got 2,000 customers globally with over 1.6 million devices managed, and a very large community that use NetBrain every day for dynamic mapping, troubleshooting, and proactively managing their network. We're headquartered out of the US, but we've recently established a presence in the UK, and I'm currently speaking to you from our office in Munich. Talking specifically about the UK, we have 75 customers, 50 of which I would class as enterprise, very, very large organizations. But there are also a lot of companies that are small, medium enterprises leveraging our technology as well. But in total, it's about 200 companies in Europe. And some of the names you can see here, we're extremely proud to be working with. The likes of Asda, Rolls-Royce, Royal Bank of Scotland, William Hill, etc. We're also very proud of the recognition that we've received from some of the key analysts and the other industry awards that we've received. And I think it's further validation of our proposition. So let's talk about that. Why is NetBrain relevant in today's world? Next slide, please. So we've been speaking to network teams constantly over the last 14 years, and we found that there are at least two common themes that they are challenged by. Firstly, the networks that teams are managing are becoming more and more complex. Often they're hybrid environments, multi-vendor environments with physical, virtual, and software-defined devices. But that hasn't necessarily changed the way we interact. It's still one device at a time, typically through a command line. Secondly, the proliferation in the number of tools used to manage the environment contribute to the complexity yet further. Many are underutilized, no longer relevant, or even shelfware. But even if you are using technologies to help you manage your networks, typically they're siloed. They're siloed data islands, providing no context to anything else that's happening in your environment. So we see that with this level of complexity and lack of visibility, when it comes to managing operational tasks, IT teams are just constantly trying to connect the dots across multiple tools, across multiple CLI windows, as they manually create documentation, they troubleshoot, they manage changes, and deal with the challenges related to cyber defense. So this has undoubtedly a massive impact. Based on research we've seen, 80% of documents generated manually are inaccurate, unreliable, and obsolete. The length of outages is increasing. The average outage at the moment is about an hour. And many of these are self-inflicted through poor change management processes. And when it comes to cybersecurity, the challenges we see is the lack of collaboration between network and security teams. And that's due to the lack of information, the lack of up-to-date information, I should say. So we believe that this cannot continue. So how does NetBrain help? Next slide, please. So by working with some of the largest companies in the world, we saw the need for a single integrated platform to provide better visibility and automation for any workflow that enables you to manage your entire environment from one single console. So firstly, we start by doing a deep dive discovery to essentially decode your network design. So whether you're managing a Cisco environment or a more hybrid environment, you can capture everything in a dynamic map, which becomes pretty much your user interface to your entire network. Secondly, by leveraging APIs, NetBrain can collect the data from any third-party tool and display this data within a map. So this removes the data islands that I spoke about earlier and provide context across your entire network. So we see the ability to collect and analyze data allows you to automate key tasks across all workflows, documentation, troubleshooting, changes, or cyber defense. This proposition is pretty unique. And as you'll see, some of the customer quotes, they believe their lives have changed in a very positive way since they started using NetBrain. So with that, let's have a look at the platform. I'll pass over to Christian now, who will demonstrate some of the capabilities that I've just talked about. Over to you, Christian.
Thank you, Patrick. So, yeah, good afternoon from my side again. And so what you can see here now, that's the normal desktop that every user has with a NetBrain and can work with it. And today I have some tasks to do, so I have to create some documentation. That's my first step. And before I will start the NetBrain, I will check if I have something in my database. So here you have a short overview that we have a lot of routers in the database, some layer 3, layer 2 switches, firewalls, and also some load balancers here. So that's a general overview where you can take a look at it. And this data I will now use to create the documentation. Because I know, okay, that's a device in Boston, that's my core device, and I need some devices around it. I can use this search bar here and searching for Bus core because I don't know the exactly host name. NetBrain will now go through the database and search for this host name. You can also enter IP address or MAC address or anything that's written in a configuration in this search bar here. As you can see, NetBrain found 4 different devices that are using Bus core in the host name and display it here. It was also found in some device groups on other maps that are already created or on sites. So as a first step, I want to check if this is a device that I want to use, if that's the correct one. So with a single click, I get more detailed information over the single device and also a simple layer 3 overview from the device and some of its neighbors. On the right side, you see that we have here some little widgets with detailed information from this device like configuration, NDP table, routing table. If it is a switch, we have also ARP and MAC table here listed. Every of these widgets can be easily exported to a separate dashboard. So as I know, okay, that's the device I want to use, I can take this preview and create the first dynamic map here in NetBrain. And as you can see, I have here a firewall, an MPLS cloud, and here I have a router. Why do NetBrain call this dynamic maps? It's pretty simple. A first point is when I zoom out, you see that I have less information. If I zoom in, I get more information. It's also easily possible to go over the tunnel interface here and get the configuration from this interface. If it's needed later from me or for a colleague, I can add this as a node here on my map. Every node that I create here can be edited. I can enter something or delete something and the timestamp will be up to date and you also see who has created this node. So normally with a few devices it's not enough for documentation. That means I can extend with the red plus sign more neighbors from this device in this example to this map based on layer 3. The good thing is when I see, okay, I have here now 2 switches from LA, I can go to one of them or both and say, okay, I need the layer 2 neighbors of this device. You see I have 5 interfaces here on layer 2 and with a double click I can put them all to this map. The good thing is you can combine this on every map how you need it. As an example, you see here between the LA WAN 2 and the LA Core 2 that we have here the same interface, but this information are based on layer 3 and this information are based on layer 2. When I zoom in, you get some more detailed information like here, enhance IGRP information and configuration, and here you have layer 2 information displayed. So it's also possible to rearrange everything here on this map if it's needed, but if you have more devices, it can be exhausting. That's why we have built in a so-called auto layout. And here you can arrange your devices automatically with the help of this downward tree. And then you have a nice map. In some cases you say, okay, this auto layout does not match the requirements I have. That's why we have the capability to create own layouts. Based on text that you provide to a device, you can also provide one or more text to a device to use it with different layouts. Here the first one is an example where you see one device on this map match to this layout, but not every device. So it's not a good idea to use it here with this map. So when it comes to documentation here, it's nice to have a map, to have some basic information, but normally you need much more information. And when I put all this information that every engineer needs for these devices to this map, you will lose every overview because it's too much information. It's pretty overloaded. For this case, we have created so-called data views. data views are now used to predefine information that I need maybe every day or more often. Like maintenance information, I can add them simply to this map via data view and display them here. If I need OSPF information, I can change it. And so I have every time this information on the map displayed which I need. And the map is never overloaded with information. It's pretty easy to define this. You can also keep them up to date automatically with NetBrain. Another point is when it comes to integration with other tools. This means you have the information in another tool and want to display this information with a NetBrain. Like here, that's integration with ServiceNow, where we checked ServiceNow if we have some incidents for the devices here. I see I have 3 different incidents. Here are the incident numbers, the short description, the state, and when this case was created. This incident. You can also add other fields like the case owner and so on to have a better overview. And that you can do also with other tools like Splunk, so CM systems or monitoring systems and so on. So for documentation, I think that's pretty cool that we have this information here on this map. And on the other side, we can now say, okay, give me here is this maintenance information, and now I need a Visio file. So normally it would take an hour, 2 hours or longer. Depends on your skill with Visio. And with NetBrain, we can now easily say, okay, export this map to a Visio diagram that we can hand it over, print it out, or arrange something else on this map. So, as you can see, the Visio file is already created, and when we take a look at it, you see the information that we had in NetBrain right now here in this Visio diagram. Pretty easy, and you have also an overview who has created this one, when it was created, and the legend from the map is also exported. Everything here on this Visio file can be rearranged. Also the grouping you can change. So it's a normal Visio file here. This export to Visio with basic information can also be automated within NetBrain to have everyday up-to-date Visio diagrams. So that was a first example how we can create an own map, and you can also save this map or hand it over to your colleagues if needed.
So Christian, sorry, just to add to that,
Yes.
this with the data views, this is precisely where the ability to bring in SolarWinds data from using the API and overlay it onto the map is extremely useful for existing users of SolarWinds, and being able to bring the interface information or the CPU and memory information or any information that is contained in the SolarWinds database can then be brought in via the API and overlaid on top of the devices on the map.
Yes, Dex, that is correct. So if you have SolarWinds in use, it can, looking similar like this example here, that you have the performance data from SolarWinds displayed with a NetBrain, automatic, and also some other useful information. Or you can also add a hyperlink to jump to this device directly in SolarWinds. That's possible, and that's part of the integration with the NetBrain. What you need is a RESTful API to do this. Okay. So my next task is to check some useful information within specific location which we have created already within a site structure. So I have a hierarchical overview over my company with all my sites you see below, and when I want to jump to one of the sites, I can do it quick and easy. Where I have predefined maps, which I can also arrange a little bit for my own use. And you see we have here some servers added to this map. Here we have a layer 2 part, and here we have a layer 3 part of this location LA. And here it's also pretty easy to use different data views or using other capabilities to see the information here directly on the map. That's Cisco Tech integration, where we can check against the Cisco Tech server on best practice experience from Cisco if everything is okay, or do we need to arrange something here. Yeah. So that you can do based on your sites. You can create own maps, or you are using a combination of this. When it now comes to troubleshooting, you can do it on this map here right now, but normally you say, okay, I have 2 endpoints, so I got a call and he said, hey, your network is slow. Maybe someone of you heard about it. And then you find out he is working with this web server and the destination is a database server. So the database server is not displayed here right now, and I have to investigate it. For this case, NetBrain has an integrated A to B path calculator, where we can here now put in our web server, which is the source. And on the other side, I know, okay, that's a database server. You can also enter IP addresses here, that's no problem. And define, okay, I want to check from source to destination. And please check the gateway every time, because we want to be sure that we're choosing the right gateway, and also the path analyze if we want to take a look at layer 3 or layer 2. Additionally, you can use a specific protocol, maybe AP based, or you have to choose TCP or UDP with specific ports. You can also search here for a specific one like RDP as example. The last point, the data source, is very important, because with NetBrain you can create this path with live data. That means we go to the device via CLI, logging into the device, checking configuration, ACLs, routing information, and so on. Or you can use the same with database information from current baseline. That's up-to-date information from database, or you're using historical data, maybe from last week, last month, if you have them. And how it looks like when we start this path calculation, you can see here right now. And we are not using any ping or trace route to create this path here. It's a comprehensive investigating of every data from this device to find out what is correct next hop based on layer 2 or layer 3 information, or in some cases both. Now you see that we have a complete path through a DMVPN, MPLS, through a firewall to the database server. That was successful, that's a good thing. And here you see we have a little checkbox where we see that the traffic was permitted by an ACL with the name outside access in. We have it twice because inside and outside we are using the same ACL here. On the left side you see also the path, and when I click on the firewall as example, you can look what has NetBrain done here on this device, and also as example which entry of the routing table was used, or which entry from this ACL was used to permit or deny the traffic. If you want to see everything what we have tried, you see we have checked netting, VRF, VPN, it's not present on device. And that you can do for every single device here to check it. So, but now, when we want to use it for troubleshooting purpose, we know which devices we need to take a look at it. We don't check any device in a location or in 2 locations that has nothing to do with the traffic between these 2 servers. We will only take a look at these devices because here will go the traffic over these devices. So, and for this we can use with the NetBrain some other technologies. One of them is called QApp. A QApp is like a little app today, so a little program that can automatically receive information from a device, analyze this information, and put it back on a map. How it looks like, I will show you right now, and I will create one very quick and easy with a so-called instant QApp functionality here. So when we have a slow application or with this between these two servers, I will check first if we have some interface issues here. And for this, I will search here for CRC errors. And NetBrain will search if we have some parsers for this purpose here. And you see we have some. That's the normal show interface command from Cisco. And here you see with red and green all variables that we have already highlighted in this parser. And here you see it in this list. Red and green, it's only that you can read it much better. How to use it right now? When I open this, you see that's highlighted. I can now mark the variables that I want to have here to check. And you also see for which devices that will work and for which not. When I release my mouse button, NetBrain will go to the database and search for this information from the interfaces I have here already on this map. And when I zoom in, I see the result. You see here we don't have any CRC errors, here we don't have collisions, but here on this side. Between these two devices I see CRC errors and collisions. And that was collected with the last so-called benchmark. To make it more visible, I can now create some alerts. So alerts are very helpful to highlight something and also to send out emails to a specific email address. You can choose, is it an error or is it a warning? I think that's also very important for the different things that you can do. You can also create one or more alerts for one of these variables for different cases. So use some message that you want. And when I now try the same again, yeah, that's again the data source, the current baseline, so database information. I will update this information with my alerts behind. And here you see that's now highlighted in red. And we created also here the error messages that you can export with a CSV file if you need it. And that's what I have created here right now. That's a Q app. You can create this Q app, give it a name, save it for your own use, or share it with your colleagues. So that's what you can do with Q app. One of your team can create the Q apps because he has a knowledge, he knows what you need or what is needed. And all other colleagues can use this Q app without to have the full knowledge behind or to have access to this device. They can simply use this Q app. How to use this Q app? Do a right click on the map, go through my list and say, okay, use this Q app. And when I now start, yes?
Sorry, Christian. So just to clarify, basically what you're saying is that we could have our level 3 or our architects, our network architects, come into NetBrain, and they could create these Q apps using their knowledge and make them available to the level 1 and level 2 support engineers, and basically giving them the ability to come in and run these troubleshooting steps as level 1 and 2, freeing up the level 3 guys to do what they've been paid to do and architect the system and not work on these types of support cases, because the level 1 and 2 guys are now they're empowered to be able to troubleshoot these better without escalating more cases.
Yes, Dex, that is fully correct. And to give this a full picture, we are using behind another technology behind this Q apps, and that's, you can see on the right side, that's called Runbook. A Runbook is now used to create a workflow, to a process that you have to take a look for specific troubleshooting cases or to make some comparison with your network and so on. And that's what the first level or second level support can use. And the third level support has created this process because he has the knowledge. Here you see now my created Q apps that I will use here to monitor this information for a short period of time. And with this option, you can say, okay, when I have an alert, where to send, which email address, or you send with a NetBrain to a specific user here. When I start this, NetBrain will go through the devices here and check this information again. And now we are using live data, not database information. And that we will repeat it every 10 seconds 4 times and collect it. So in the meantime, where we will collect this information, we can also add additional steps here. So that's the default runbook that will automatically document all the things you have collected here on this map. Maybe as an example, you can add here an overall health monitor to take a look at the performance information from a device with other thresholds that you have defined within your monitoring system, and also maybe with another interval. We have a shorter one that's possible to run it over a certain time. In our case here, you see this information can release from this map or put it back. And it's also possible to see if these counters here have increased over time within this small table. To make it more usable when you have a lot of Q apps created, we have another feature for troubleshooting purpose as example, which we call G-app. With a G-app, you can now combine different Q apps to a process within a runbook. This means when I now simply run this G-app, and in the meantime, when it runs, we will take a look at it. The first thing is we have here the same Q app I created right now with CRC errors and collisions. And we will execute it on all devices. As a second step, I say, okay, from logic, I don't need to execute a neighboring check for speed and duplex mismatch on devices where I don't have any interface errors. In this case, I decided only to check the second Q app on devices where I have found CRC errors or collisions with a Boolean expression here. And so you can build up here a process within a G app. How it looks like. First, we see the result of the first Q app. It looks a little bit different as before. And with the show result button, you can now jump to the second Q app. And you can see here that we have here half duplex, full duplex, and speed is 100 megabits. That's okay. That's only a really short example how it can look like when you are using the different technologies from NetBrain and combine it for troubleshooting or from comparison or other use cases that you have. When you have here on the left side the default runbook and you have the step, sometimes you have the idea after you have troubleshooting completed and it was successful, you say, hey, the steps I have used were really great. I think it's helpful for my colleagues too when they use the steps the next time we encounter such an issue. And that's why we can now save this one as a new runbook template and add some descriptions and other information that may be helpful for my colleagues from first level support.
Christian?
Yes.
In terms of the runbook, are we limited to anything specific, or do we have the ability, say for instance, in our runbook to perform certain scripting activities or run a PowerShell script to do any diagnosis?
Yeah, so right now you can use a runbook and use these features within this runbook. That means you can add specific things. That means collect show commands from the devices, and when it comes to scripting, that you can use within a Q app. We are using Python in the back, and the Q app can create it with a logic behind, so you don't need it within a runbook itself.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
So what I have opened here is an overview. We have some built-in runbooks that we deliver with NetBrain, and here you see that my colleagues have created other runbooks here that they have shared with the team. And at the bottom you see that I have one runbook that I have created, but it's not finalized and tested right now. And when I look at one of those runbooks, you see you can also create a runbook more complex. So that means if you can have different results at a specific point, you can add for every result that can happen, the points that need to be done after this. So that's a short overview over runbooks. And one last example from my side when it comes to integration again with ServiceNow in this example. So I see I have here a lot of cases and I'm responsible for this case. And as you can see, it's a poor voice quality between two devices. And NetBrain has run now a trigger with this information. So ServiceNow has run a trigger to NetBrain and created a map for me automatically and added here the URL to this map, which I can now use to take a look at this information that were created automatic. So first point is when you're working with integrations, that can also be another system like Splunk or your monitoring system to create such maps or a path in this example. And as a second point, we can also add a runbook to this scenario that will be used automatically and collect information for us. And when we open this map, we have already information that we are calling tier 0 automation or just-in-time automation. So when your first level support opens the case, he has already information to the time where the issue happened.
Christian, just to give an example there in regards to SolarWinds. So for instance, if SolarWinds was monitoring your devices and SolarWinds triggered a specific alert, and that alert that was triggered had a specific action, what it could do is it could send that alert to NetBrain via the API to say that there has been a problem here. Please map out the affected area. And using the API, NetBrain is going to take that information that's being sent over, and then using, as you said, the just-in-time automation, it's going to immediately, without any user intervention as yet, it's going to map out the affected area from that alert. And it's going to save a copy of that map. It will have run the runbook, the just-in-time runbook, and then that could even, once that is completed, attach that map and create a ServiceNow incident.
Yes, that is correct. What you can also do is to use already a defined map, like a sitemap, and create a copy of this map, and then run a runbook and collect information, because the device is in the site and you want to check every device around. That's also possible.
Excellent.
Okay, I think we have now presented the first overview of NetBrain. We have a lot of more features here and capabilities. And now I think I will hand over back to Dex, and then we have some minutes to answer your questions. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Christian. That was a fantastic demo. So I think what we'll do now is we will have another poll. And what we'll do here is we'll have a poll about what do you guys feel would benefit your company the most. We'll just wait a little bit to get in some responses here. All right, I'm seeing the responses are coming in now. Okay. Right. Okay. So it looks like you guys should have the poll results on your screen. It does look like dynamic maps and just-in-time automation seem to be the two key features. That's fantastic. It is basically what NetBrain is created around. And as you could see from the demo that Christian delivered for us, those features are really fantastic, and they have a bit of a wow factor in terms of what they can do. Very, very unique software solution, and again, one of the reasons, this is one of the reasons why Prosperon has decided to take it on to complement our portfolio, is because it is just a fantastic piece of software, and of course it integrates so nicely with existing monitoring tools and all of your tools in general. And one of the things that NetBrain, well, I think one of NetBrain's mottos is 50 tools plus NetBrain equals 1 tool, and I think Prosperon here tend to agree with that. So, questions. We are now finished with the demo. We would be happy to take any questions that you may have. And while we wait for any questions to come through, I don't know, Patrick, if you have anything, any final words?
Yeah, so really say thank you to everyone for attending. We have conversations like this with customers every day, and it's amazing the art of the possible when it comes to the NetBrain platform. We've talked about some of the use cases today, and I think some of those could be relevant to your environments, but yeah, quite simply, we'd love the opportunity to talk to you about it more. So Dax and team, I'm sure, will be in contact to arrange that where there is interest. Thank you very much for your interest in NetBrain as of now. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Patrick. So a quick question open to Christian or Patrick. The licensing model, how is NetBrain at the moment licensed? So
the platform today is licensed in a perpetual fashion with support and maintenance on an annual basis. The licenses are attached to the users in your environment and the number of nodes within your environment. So it's a very simple, straightforward licensing concept. The licenses for users are concurrent, so you can benefit from sharing those licenses should your business model fit with that. As we move into the new year, we are moving more to a subscription model. So yeah, appreciating that companies change the way they want to acquire enterprise software, and subscription seems to be the most effective way of doing that now. So we are transitioning to that, and by the end of next year, we'll have a fully hosted SaaS platform. So hosted in the cloud and licensed on a subscription basis.
Fantastic. Thank you, Patrick. We've got a couple more questions coming in here. First one, can NetBrain replace SolarWinds or PRTG for SNMP monitoring? I think I can quite safely answer that. It is not a replacement to a monitoring tool. It isn't a replacement to a traditional NMS. What we could say is that it complements and works in conjunction with any NMS that you currently have implemented for traditional monitoring. Another question, is it best installed on a physical box or does it work fine on a VM? Christian, if you could answer that one.
Yes, sure. So you can use both ways, and from my experience, 99% of our customers are using the virtual one, and that works pretty fine.
Fantastic, thank you. Another question is there a free setup guide for integration? Or if not, is there a paid guide? I think, Christian, I'll let you answer this one, but before you do, I believe that the NetBrain website, netbraintech.com, does have a lot of useful information on there. But Christian, perhaps you could answer the question a little bit more specifically. Is there a free guide for integration?
What we provide right now is, so we have free webinars where we'll also go through API integration a little bit. And we offer right now a free Swagger page where we have our northbound API displayed, and this will be held up to date by our integration team.
Fantastic. Question, are there Are there options in NetBrain for visual theme across the maps? Not a fan of the aesthetics currently. I guess a question relates to can we theme them? Can we change the current theme of the network diagrams that are created?
So to be a little bit more specific, does it mean the background of the maps, or?
Is it possible to change the background of the?
Yeah. Okay. So right now that is not possible. So
okay.
That's like it here right now. Yeah.
Okay. I would imagine though that if the maps in NetBrain, once we've created the maps, if we export them to Visio, we are completely free to change the icons and have those Visio diagrams be changed to conform to any sort of logo policies or anything like that once the map has been exported.
Yes. Yes. Sure. That's possible.
Okay, question for myself. Will Prosperon provide a setup service with integration to SolarWinds? Absolutely. So that is one of the things that we are definitely going to be offering. Should NetBrain be taken on by any customers, Prosperon will offer a professional services to not only set up and configure NetBrain, but also to completely set up and configure the API integration with SolarWinds. In terms of free trials, there is an instant trial on the NetBrain website. Christian, if you could maybe just paste, if you can, paste the link in chat for the instant trial.
Yes, sure. I will paste it in the chat. Give me a sec.
Okay, fantastic. I'll move on to the next question. Can NetBrain integrate with other products? For example, SysTrack, nGenius One, nGenius Pulse, etc. So I think in terms of that question, integration with any products is possible as long as there is an API available for that. Christian, I don't know if you want to go into a little bit more detail, but I believe that as long as there is API available, integration can happen.
Yes, that is correct. We need a RESTful API, and normally we will check with our integration team together if this API also provide the capabilities to push out or push in the information that you want from the other system within NetBrain, or from NetBrain to the other system.
Okay, fantastic. There was a little bit of a clarification on the themed question about icons or paths or fonts or label replacement. So again, I think that that is possible once the diagram has been exported to Visio. That's all editable again. However, I'm sure what we can do is we could take that information back and we can relay that to the service team with NetBrain. And definitely submit that as a feature request for themed.
Yes, so what you can do is when you have the login screen of NetBrain, you can change it to your company. That's possible. Also, the background from the desktop within NetBrain, you can change it. That's possible right now.
Great. Fantastic. All right, guys. Well, that is the last of the questions. So what we'll do there is we are right on time. We'll go ahead and end the webinar now. I'd like to, again, thank you very much all for joining. I hope it has been informative for you. And I hope to be speaking with some of you soon. Thank you very much. Have a great day.